All right, Hojun, how are we doing today, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing good. Let's actually put these computers on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. I was reading about Taekwondo earlier today, and because I personally don't have much knowledge about it, but I think it's really cool how all martial arts kind of have their own unique art to them. Like they're all kind of built on the fundamental ideas of fighting and competition, yet they're all kind of have their own unique interpretation of it. So I don't know. It was a really cool sport just to read about it. I didn't know any of the specifics of it, and it's impressive that you got was it gold at the US Open?
Yeah, that was a US Open Hanmadang. Yeah. I will say, man, low-key Colton hyped me up a little bit. I'm not like anywhere near like Olympic status or anything like that, but it's just the competition in Colorado Springs that me and my tojang, which is like it's like a dojo pretty much. We go there like every year.
Is that a computer?
Yeah.
Okay, you can mute it. All good, no worries.
All right.
Keep going.
All right. But yeah, pretty much we go there like every year or so. Last year was like the first time I went since 2019 because of COVID. But I was expecting not too much to happen, but very excited. I got a gold medal. So yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So what's the competition level? So this is just a youth competition, and from how big is the competition? Like, is it just within the state of Colorado, or
no. So Colorado hosted.
Okay.
But like people from other states come. I know there was like a couple teams from China, a couple teams from Mexico.
Wow.
So like that's why we call it international, right? Because other countries come to it. But I will say like there's a youth category and then there's like an adult category. And it's divided up by your belt ranking. So I was in the third degree division, obviously, since I'm a third degree. So competed in, I think, 5 different events. Got gold in one of them. I got 2 silvers and 1 bronze.
Wow, dude.
So
it's impressive. I want to learn about the different event styles. I think that's also cool how one sport has like different events to it as well.
Dude, yeah.
In the realm of, I guess it's mixed martial arts, right? So
yeah.
I'm curious about, so who were you representing then? Were you representing like a school, or were you representing the U.S., or like who were you representing in this competition?
No, I wish I was representing the U.S. That'd be sick. But no, we were just representing our tojang. So that's like our dojo, like our studio.
That's so cool.
So yeah, just the name of that. So yeah.
Amazing. And you're competing with like, I'm assuming, teams all across the country, including international. So
yeah.
It's amazing, bro.
So pretty on the more amateur level, like, but it's
still really impressive, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
You've been doing this since you were 4 years old, right?
What was that?
You've been doing this since you were 4 years old.
4 years old, yeah.
Wow.
So it's
that's
been
dedication, man.
14 years. Took a little breaks here and there, but got back into it like 7th grade or so. I started getting more serious into it because we switched our tojangs, right? So the first one was kind of ass. It's like, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss.
Do whatever you want. Open mic.
But the first place I was at when I was 4, like they just like took our money, kind of like we just kind of like paid for the belt test. And like in the martial arts community, we call those things McDojos because they're kind of like crappy places to study martial arts at. Took like a year or 2 break, and then went back to another place that a friend recommended, and that place was definitely hard, man. But it was so worth it.
And what year did you go there?
I don't remember the specific year. I think like when I was in 7th grade. So what is that? 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, and I'm in 7th grade. It's a good reference point. Yeah.
Right.
Amazing. So would you say that when you're younger? I mean, I'm sure like everyone's kind of starting out young, about the same level. Did you find yourself ahead of people relatively at that age, or did it start to pick up in 7th grade when you took this turn? Or?
Right. So I didn't really know how good I was till like 7th grade. I wouldn't say I was even like crazy good then, but I did it with my brother. So I started when I was 4. He was 7 when he started, and he's always probably had like the upper edge in Taekwondo, because he's just more naturally athletic and all that. So I kind of like saw him as like, a place to get to, right? Because we competed for the the same belt test. We like tested around the same times. We got our black belts around the same times. We tested for our 3rd degrees at the same time. So he was kind of like always a good base to like like someone to like make me meet like that threshold, I guess. But relative to like other people, I would say like at my most recent place, I was probably the better ones, but there are always people better than me, and honestly that's just good for inspiration and trying to keep me going. So
yeah, the brotherly competition is different, bro. Like Colton was talking about it too. He had I think 2 or 3 older brothers who all competed before him, but I'm sure that could be kind of a motivating factor, but also like this dissatisfaction it puts you like, oh, I gotta be him.
Dude, yeah, I mean, growing up, man, like we just, he just randomly starts wrestling me or whatever, always doing, arm wrestling competitions, and it definitely, gets competitive here at times, but I think it's always good to have someone who's very honest with you and always pushes you. When I was practicing for my 3rd degree black belt test, he was always there helping me, pushing me, motivating me. So that kind of balance and like competitiveness, not getting too toxic with it, but also just motivating each other is a great thing in my opinion. So
that's so cool, dude. Could you explain to me the rules behind Taekwondo? So from what I understand, there's a lot more striking movements involved in other martial arts. It's like the main focus of it. I wonder if that's like more of a cultural thing or that's even built into the rule set. And also after that, like what are the different event styles? Like how are there different events?
Great question. I think when people think of Taekwondo, they think of sparring. So like that's seen in the Olympics, right? So here's how sparring works. I didn't compete in this when I competed at the Hanmadang, but sparring, you're geared up. You got your chest guard, your shin guards, you got stuff on your arms, your head guard, right? So pretty much 1 kick to the chest is 1 point. 1 kick to the head is 2 points. A spinning kick to the chest is 3 points.
What's a spinning kick?
It's like a back kick or a spinning hook kick, a jump back kick, something like that. Something where you turn and then kick
your whole body.
Right. Wow. And then a spinning kick to the head is 4 points. A punch to the body is 1 point. A punch to the head is 0 points. So we don't allow any of that, unfortunately. But that's kind of how the point system works for Taekwondo sparring. There's other competitions, like, for example, the one I competed in and got first place in was a spinning roundhouse or a spinning hook kick. So it's pretty much you try to like spin as many times as you can and try to hook kick a board. So like they have a breaking board, right? They like keep on holding it out, and it's how many times you can kick that board and break that board in a minute. So that's the competition that I won in. And then there's other ones such as jumping high kick. So it's who can jump the highest and kick the board the highest. And some of these kids.
So how are they measuring how high you kick? Like there's
like a measuring tape. Like
is it like how high your leg can kick or how high you kick the board up?
How high you can kick the board.
Oh,
so like
wow.
Jump and kick the board. So it obviously helps if you're taller, right? So there's these kids who probably kick like 12 feet, 13 feet, like up in the air. It's like,
that's insane.
It's insane, bro. And then there's other categories like power breaking. So that's how many boards you can break with your hand or doing a back kick or a side kick. I also compete in all 3 of those events. And then there's another one, it's called Pumse. So those are like forms. I don't know if you've like seen karate, like, there's different kind of forms they have there. So in Taekwondo, that's called Pumse. And it's basically like art kind of showing the different self-defense movements, each step by step. And then you basically get scored in that in terms of power, speed, accuracy, and how loud your like key hap or a scream is.
So you scream while you do it?
Yeah, like kind of like like I'm not gonna do it in the mic. I don't want to blow the people's ears out. But pretty much.
Wow, that's so sick, dude. So I'm seeing that it's primarily like individual measuring of a certain ability more than it's not. Is there also like 1v1s involved, like where it's like punch into the face, punch to the chest? Right. How much of it is it like they're equally both as popular, or is it like do people focus more on like those like one-on-one Taekwondo matches versus just the testing your ability to measure?
Yeah, I would say the more popular event is the sparring, like the 1v1. Because I mean,
it's called sparring.
Yeah, that's what they show on the Olympics. That's what people like in actual US Open tournaments compete in. And I'd say that and Pumse are the 2 most like well-known events, right? I mean, like, it's entertaining, You want to watch 2 people fight. You don't want to watch someone just break a board or whatever. I mean, as cool as that sounds. But I will say there's a rising popularity in this thing called a demonstration. So that's pretty much a Taekwondo team. They're called a demo team. They pretty much perform in front of a crowd and they just showcase all their skills, right? Like the pros. I don't know if you've watched like America's Got Talent or whatever, but I know a couple years back, a Taekwondo team like competed there and they're doing a demonstration and they're just kicking boards out of the air, like doing backflips and kicking them, like flying.
So it's kind of like a whole like event, or what's the word for it? Performance,
yeah. It's not really a competition event and like stuff you see in competitions like US Opens and all that, but it's a way to showcase the skill of Taekwondo and kind of market it to the whole world, because that's what people want to see. They want to see people do crazy flips, you know, kick out of the air, like do crazy amount of spins in the air. Like these people are crazy, man, and when you're really good at it, like there's just so many levels to this. So.
Yeah, I'm sure people would love it. Performances. I think there's a whole other art and creativity to that.
Oh yeah,
like putting it together, like how everything comes together. It's probably so satisfying to see something.
Dude, oh yeah, and like even in the demonstration, when a group of people do a pumset together, like one of those forms, and they're like exactly in sync, they're exactly the same power, their foot movements are the same, their screams are the same. Like it is so satisfying to watch. So I recommend you or anyone watching just to like search up Taekwondo demonstration.
Let's watch one right now, dude. I'll put it up on the screen.
Let's go for it, dude.
Do you have any recommendations for like a specific one, or?
I mean, let's do the America's Got Talent one. How about that?
Yeah, I'll put up on the screen for them too.
I bet.
America's Got Talent, Taekwondo, 2024.
Yeah.
Alright. Salubi amazed us all with gold buzzer winning performance. This one?
Yeah, I think that's one of them too. I think that was Britain's Got Talent.
FanDuel Sportsnet.
What?
FanDuel Sportsnet.
Sir.
Hello. How are you? I'm so excited. Okay, what is the name?
Just for the sake of time, let's get to the performance.
Okay, yeah.
Don't kick something.
Bro, it's crazy. See how they're just in sync, dude?
Yeah, that's so satisfying.
So satisfying. This is a crazy kick. Holy fuck.
What the fuck?
Dude,
How high did he jump for that?
I don't know, bro.
Wait, bro, what the fuck?
See, like they jump off the
Oh,
person's hand.
I didn't see the guy there.
They lift.
I thought he just jumped on his own.
No. That would be like
Oh my
some
God.
superhero stuff. Dude. But
That's really impressive, man.
have you seen stuff like this before?
Never, bro.
It's so satisfying. Bro,
That's incredible.
the
Bro.
amount of hype they get is like
That's incredible, dude. Thank you for showing me this, man.
dude, for sure, yeah.
Have you done a performance like this before or no?
Yeah. I mean, not to that extent, bro. I wish. I cannot jump that high. I cannot backflip and kick boards while doing it, man. But yeah, our Tojang had a demonstration team, which I was a part of, like, and we performed like 3 times ish. So it was pretty fun. And then at Michigan, actually, I'm a part of the Taekwondo club team. And I'm also part of the demonstration team there.
Oh, nice.
So like every Saturday we practice for 2 hours. We're learning like forms right now. I'm pretty sure we'll get into breaking boards later on. But I mean, once that's out, bro, I'll invite you. You should come.
I'll definitely come, dude.
Bro.
Tell me the day, bro. I'm gonna pull up.
Sure,
this is amazing, man.
But one day, bro. Hopefully, I can get to that level, right? But
you'll get there, man.
yeah. And you just need a good team too. Like when you're like, for example, my place back at home, bro. We just had a lot of like kids like 12 and under. So I mean, I can't jump off their arms and like do kicks like that, that break them, right?
Yeah.
But it was good to just help them out too and all that. So yeah.
It's amazing, man. Do you have a preference for what you enjoy more, like the demonstrations, the individual performance, or the sparring?
I will say like I really like sparring. Like growing up, I didn't do too much of sparring just because my place back at home we didn't do a lot of sparring. But at Michigan, right, on the Taekwondo club team, they focus a lot on sparring. So I've been going to a couple practices and sparring with some really good guys. Like when you spar against good guys, bro, you just get so humbled. But you just learn so much, man. So after just seeing their levels, man, really just is such a motivating thing for me. And I hope to compete one day too, like them. So yeah,
it's amazing, dude. So this originated back in South Korea, correct?
Yeah, I was born there.
Yeah, you were born in South Korea. Man, when did you move here?
I was like 10 months.
Oh, very young. So mostly grew up in the U.S.
Yeah.
Michigan or?
No, Colorado.
Oh yeah, you told me that. I forgot that. Yeah.
Good.
That's really cool. So the sport originated in South Korea. Like what era of like the history? You don't know if it's
very long time ago. Like
okay.
Probably in like the first century, I'm assuming. Like,
wow.
It's a pretty old form of art, but it's developed throughout the years. So Taekwondo, there's like 3 branches to it. Like there's WTF, ATA, and ITF. So WTF is the South Korean version. ATA is the American version and ITF is the North Korean version. And the North Korean version, if you see their sparring clips, they are much more brutal with it. Like I think they can like punch to the head, just like kick to the head. There's less gear, right? So much different. WTF, the South Korean version, I would say they're more showy, more performance based, and like the demonstration you saw, that's WTF style. ATA, I'm not too sure what they do.
It's more of a newer concept, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So more modernized, but sure. But those are the 3.
So when it first originated in Korea, was performance a big part, or the demonstration was a big part of it, or was it originally more on the competition base, or was like demonstration part from the beginning? Because you mentioned that it's been growing in popularity recently a lot. So.
Yeah, I would say demonstration is more of a newer thing, right? So I think that the Olympics were in South Korea, I think like 2002 or something. Fact check me if I'm wrong, but so Taekwondo was introduced to the world through sparring, but I think they wanted to grow their audience a lot. So more recently, they started combining like the best people and starting to do demonstration performances like you just saw right there, and that's been getting a lot of traction. So at talent shows or world events, people tend to invite these Taekwondo demonstration teams and just perform for them because first of all, people have never seen stuff like this, right? It was your first time seeing it.
I've never seen this before.
It was insane. So people see that. Younger kids look at that and they just get inspired. Like, I want to join Taekwondo. That's why there's...
I was thinking about it when I saw the video.
Dude, exactly. Like, you want to, get on that level and, start doing flips, start doing crazy kicks. Yeah. And just, impress people. I think that's such a cool thing, such an inspiring thing for people. So... I'm really glad that it's getting a lot of traction with demonstration. So.
Yeah, amazing, dude. What's the club like over here? So is it very competitive, or is it also like mix of competitive, but also like people who want to try it for the first time?
Yeah. So I will say, after the competition last year, I haven't been to Taekwondo till Michigan. So I'm gonna say I'm pretty washed right now, but there's a lot of good people. Like a lot of people who'll just kick your ass, I think I went last Sunday, and I just got my ass beat by this guy who's on like the I think he's on the national level for competing sparring. But there's also a lot of like newer people, a lot of color belts who are just learning, a lot of people who've never started Taekwondo. So the club thing here is definitely open for everyone. A lot of black belts too. So I'd say there's a good range of skill.
Yeah, I mean, something like there's always like 100 things I want to try.
Dude, yeah.
I think the way I'm thinking about it right now is that I'm still in the process of bulking, but eventually I take a break for a month or two, and that's when I'm interested in doing some kind of martial arts thing. Maybe that's like wrestling again.
Yeah.
Even powerlifting. I think there's so many different cool things. Like
dude,
that.
yeah. Oh, for sure, dude.
Like, I don't know how to decide. You know what I mean?
So you were a wrestler back in high school, right?
Yeah, I wasn't
right.
too good, not as good as you, but just.
I mean, but
for fun, yeah.
yeah, are you on like the club wrestling team here and stuff?
Not right now. I did one of their practices, but
yeah.
Like, I think when I do take a break from bulking, I will take a look
yeah.
at club teams for a period of time.
Because yeah, I will say like martial arts has been. I love watching MMA and all that. I want to learn how to grapple pretty good, like jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, judo. I also did like Muay Thai when I went to Korea this summer. That was so different.
Muay Thai, how does that work?
Yeah, so Muay Thai is more striking, obviously. There's not a lot of, there's like no forms involved. It's not really an art, it's just fighting technique. So in Muay Thai, it's the way of 8, right? So you use both your fists, both your elbows, both your knees, and both your feet. So you can kick, knee, elbow, or punch people. So I've only practiced Muay Thai for like 2 months, and this was over the summer. And I sparred against people, and I've never been that hurt in my life. But it is so tiring because it requires so much cardio, so much focus, and there's a big mental side to it, right? But that's definitely something that I want to go back to, because as fun as Taekwondo is, like, I don't think it gets as much respect in the martial arts world, because it's more like the mixed martial arts world, I guess, because it's like more showy, more performance based, and it doesn't actually affect people in the real world, right? Yeah.
Do you think it deserves more respect?
I think so. Or like, I don't know. Like, for example, the performance you saw, no other martial arts can do stuff like that, right? So I think Taekwondo is probably the most impressive martial art. But if you want to get a good fundamental in kicking and a base in kicking, I would say Taekwondo is probably the best martial art you can do to get good at kicking. But like in a street fight, for example, you come across a big guy, you're not going to start kicking them. Like, you're going to obviously use your fist. You're going to want to learn how to use head movement. You're not going to just jump up and like do a flying back kick to your head. I mean, you could do that, and I'm sure it works, right? But most realistically, they're going to see that coming. They're going to dodge it. You have to know how to time it well, do all this and that. Taekwondo sparring, for example, you keep your hands down. Like, I mean, I'm sure you've watched boxing before. Like, they keep your hands up. Muay Thai, there's a guard like this to protect your head. Taekwondo, you're always in range. You kind of like keep your hands down and you just bounce around and you try to like kick each other. But realistically, that you're not going to do that in an actual fight. So in that sense, I think Taekwondo, there's a reason it doesn't get as much respect. But I think that coupled with other things like boxing or wrestling or Muay Thai, kickboxing, right? It translates very well. The skills translate very well into other martial arts.
I think it's definitely true that all the martial arts kind of bring their own skill set in a way. And I guess it's interesting to think about how they translate to real life, right?
Yeah.
Because, again, the skills in Taekwondo might not directly apply to a specific street fight. And I think that's how I felt about wrestling for a while, because I think that in wrestling you gain a lot of mental strength, which I'm sure with most of these martial arts you gain a lot of mental strength. But I don't feel like wrestling taught me how to fight someone better.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's not very physical. It's very they're both kind of artistic in a way, where there's like a certain rule set and you have to kind of follow that rule set in order to get a specific method of getting these points, right? Like, you can't start punching someone in wrestling. You can't get like really physical with them, or you'll get called. You can't like put them in like really terrible positions as you might want to do in a street fight. But at the same time, I think they both have skill sets you can use in very specific
Yeah.
situations, right? Like definitely in MMA, like when you're both on the ground, like that's where wrestling is like really, really useful,
for
right?
sure,
like
yeah.
someone's on top of you, like wrestling is a really useful tool, like how do you get up and how to hold someone down. So I think there's definitely applications of it. And I don't know, what do you think is like although it might not be the full skill set to directly apply to a street fight, like what do you think is like the most useful skill set in Taekwondo?
So, honestly, the footwork. You have to get so good at footwork, right? Because, people are used to, like, more people are getting used to getting punched in the face, but not kicked to the head. And your legs are longer than your arms. So, the range development that you learn in sparring, I think that's one of the more useful things when it comes to an MMA fight, right? Fighters like to keep in range, out of range. And I think Taekwondo really helps with that because it helps people learn that, punching range is one thing, but kicking range is another thing. So in a street fight, you're going up against a somewhat skilled fighter, right, who knows how to kick. If you don't know the right range to stand in, you're going to think you're fine because you're not going to get punched by them. But in a second, you're going to get kicked to the head, kicked to the body. You're just going to start flying back, right? But also, like, you mentioned wrestling and how that, like, you said you don't think it really translates well into, like, fighting or whatever. I would honestly say, dude, like, wrestling is probably the most important skill when it comes to a fight. Because people are so used to, like, I want to punch the crap out of you, like, beat you up, right, with their fists. Dude, they can see a kick coming, they can grab that kick, and they can just, like, fly you back, right? Wrestling, you go in with, a double leg, right?
Yeah.
Most people aren't going to see that coming. You're going to get them to the ground, and that's where
And it hurts
you guys,
from the ground. That should
right?
hurt, yeah.
I mean, if you soon as you get your opponent to the ground in wrestling, you're gonna win that fight. Obviously,
Yeah.
There's a reason so many champions in the UFC. I think there are more wrestling champions than any other champion,
I've
right?
seen that, yeah.
And like even jiu-jitsu, right? Knowing how to choke them out, leg lock, arm lock. That's something I've kind of learned in the past jiu-jitsu, but it's definitely something I want to get better at. So, yeah.
That's really interesting, dude. Yeah. Are you into watching UFC and everything?
Yeah, I would say I'm a pretty big fan. I don't know about you, like.
Not much. I mean, I think it's really cool though. But yeah, it's a good perspective to think about because I guess like I kind of knew that wrestling was useful in a way, but I guess even if it's not the full skill set, like it's a pretty significant portion of it. I guess.
For sure. I mean, yeah, like I said, ground game is one of the most important things you can learn in mixed martial arts. So
it's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
So where does your story begin? So we start when you're 4 years old. What's your initial relationship with Taekwondo? So it's maybe something, if you're at that age, it's probably something your parents are like signing you up for whatever reason. I'm not sure how big your parents were into Taekwondo, but how about you detail like your early experiences with it and how you got into it?
Yeah, so my mom has always been a big fan of Taekwondo. She always tells me she thinks Taekwondo is one of the coolest things you can learn in life. My dad, he was also a third-degree black belt back in his days, But I think at first I only saw Taekwondo as a more of like an entertaining thing. And then I remember this specific point in time. There was multiple periods of time when I just got absolutely sick of it. That's why
early
on and most recently, like there's a reason I didn't go back to Taekwondo for a whole year after I won gold. And part of that is also because my first competition event, I like almost broke my ankle and it was completely bruised up. It got hella purple, and I think that demotivated me to continue to keep going because I had a reason to get out of Taekwondo for 2 months, and then that whole year I was like, I got used to not going, and I just used school as an excuse, and I just didn't go, got pretty lazy, and I think that's what made me stop going to Taekwondo for a whole year. Other than that, like I said, it's such a huge mental thing. If you don't keep, if you make it a motivation thing and not a discipline thing, you're not going to succeed in Taekwondo or any martial arts or any sport, in fact. I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of experience in this too, right, as a wrestler. But yeah.
Amazing, dude. I'm curious about that specific injury moment because, I mean, interesting thing is like you've been able to do it for your whole life. So there's some discipline incorporated there that was helping you to get through that. But
Right.
I mean, maybe you're just. I'm sure there's part of you that loves it, and there's a part of you that appreciates it. But I can understand that there's also a side of you that kind of gets sick of it after a while. So like, was that kind of like a small thing in the background the whole time, all building up toward the moment of the injury, or was it like there was a moment in time when you started to build a distaste for it?
I will say it comes and goes. So I've had many breaks in Taekwondo. Like when I switched Tojang's injury after a black belt test, I feel like once I achieve these little goals, I tend to kind of back out from it because I tell myself, you know, I can wait. I've succeeded. I can wait till the next thing. I think I wish early back I kept going, right? I achieved one thing, kept going, achieved another, kept going, right? And I think that would have made me such a better martial artist. But honestly, like going back to the injury, that was probably the most, like top 5 most mentally challenging things I had to go through, because this was my competition to win at least 4 gold medals in, right? I was 17. I was competing against other third degree black belts, and I was the oldest. I was the oldest age you could be to compete in that division, because I think it was from like 15 years old to 17 years old. And there's a big difference in power and speed and strength and development between a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old, right? So the first competition I go to, it was a power back kick, and that's pretty much how many boards you can break doing a spinning back kick, right? So, you know, I was so ready for this. They say, how many boards do you want? I say 7, because I think I can break 7 boards using a back kick. And then they have it all set up. I turn, I go for it, and then by the smallest inch, I just missed the target. I hit the plastic part where it's holding the boards, and then that just almost shatters my ankle. Starts bruising up. And after that, I barely could walk. And I was like,
were you not able to finish the other 6 boards in? Like, was it that bad, or did you finish it and then you realized that this is pretty bad?
No, you only have one chance, so I wasn't able to break the boards. So I was like, shoot, you know, I'm screwed for the rest of the competition. Because the other events, it was a power side kick, power knife hand, pumse, and then the spinning hook kick, which I won in. So I talked to my master. He's like, you have 2 options. You can either give up and go home, or keep trying with one good foot. And I was like,
that's your less dominant foot.
Yeah. So I heard my right foot, and then so my left foot was the only good one, and I kick with my right foot most of the time. So honestly, it was good though, because I usually balance on my left foot, so I'm glad I didn't break the foot that I actually balance on. But I just kept going. I'm like, you know, we came all the way out here. I'm not going to waste my mom's time. I'm not going to waste everyone's time. I'm not going to just give up, right? I've been training for this for a whole year now. Kept going. All the competitions, like competitive events, yeah, I couldn't perform my best in, but I still tried. Come the spinning hook kick thing, I was breaking the boards with like the tape all around my ankle. Because that was my kicking foot. And then I was trying to stabilize with my left foot. And then, you know, thankfully I won. So yeah.
It's impressive to push through that, because I think the hardest part is like the stories you tell yourself in your brain, like mentally, like, oh my God, like I can only imagine. I don't even know if you remember like the kind of thoughts that were going through your brain that day.
Yeah, dude, I remember because the injury happened the first day, so there's 2 days you compete, and then the event I won, it happened the second day. So that night in the hotel room, I just remember like going to bed. I was just praying, right? I was like, God, just please heal my foot. I want this to get better. I was icing it. I was literally searching up how to fix ankle sprain in overnight, doing all these things, right? Woke up the next morning. I was on my bed. I was like, man, I feel like I feel good, right? It was more of a placebo thing. Stood up, got on the floor.
You always feel good when you wake up.
What?
You always feel good when you wake up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the moment you stand up, just like fell to the ground. I was like, oh my gosh, it feels worse than ever. But I think that at that moment, just walking it out and getting used to the pain is what truly helped me, because I just continue to tell my brain, I'm like, I'm okay. The pain is temporary. Like, you know, I gotta get used to this if I want to compete. So yeah, I did compete, and thankfully the mental strength was there, but afterwards it hurt more than ever, and I had to like put on a boot. I couldn't walk correctly for like 3 months or so.
3 months, wow.
And it's better now, but there are times when I like accidentally kick it wrong. I still feel a little bit of pain there. So
wow, that's an incredible story. I mean, it's incredible you're able to push through and finish that competition. So when you described it being mentally challenging, was it like mainly the 3 months that followed that were the most challenging part of it?
Yeah.
And what was the hardest part?
I think the hardest part was getting used to it initially and knowing I had 4 other events to compete in, because that was the first event I broke my ankle in. But the next hardest part was for sure those 3 months, because I saw my brother going to Taekwondo after that. I felt bad that I couldn't attend practice. And I think that that's like going back to the demotivation thing. That just demotivated me so much to compete in Taekwondo and to continue to go to practice. And that was my reason of not going for a whole entire year, because I was like, I'm already 3 months out. I've been injured for 3 months. I don't want to go back to this now, because like I'd be so set behind. So that's one of the more mentally challenging things that happen post injury, right? Knowing that I can't compete, or knowing that I can't go to practice for those next 3 months, walking around with a boot on, not being able to walk correctly, having to like rely on the rails when I'm walking up the stairs and whatnot, using the elevator at my school. I mean, it was just like inconvenient things that I'm complaining about. I mean, like every athlete goes through injuries, like, spraining an ankle or breaking an arm or something like that. But that was the first time I've experienced an injury like that. So I think since it was newer to me, that's why it was more harder than I thought to overcome it.
Have you ever thought about the day when you injured it and wondered to yourself, like, how did it happen? Because I'm not sure how common it is for someone maybe competing at the caliber you're competing to miss the first one and hit the plastic. Like, is that more common than normal? And was the injury primarily because you missed it so poorly that you hit a part that you shouldn't have hit? Like, have you ever thought back to, like, what kind of went wrong that day or no?
Yeah, I think so. A lot of things came down to, right? First of all, was a lack of practice, I think. That was one of the events that I didn't put most of my time towards, and I think I should have put more times to it. So actually, like in 2019, I competed in that same event. That time I broke 3 boards, and I kicked it well, and I broke it, and I felt really good about myself. This time I broke 7 boards, and I was trying to break 7 boards, and like unfortunately I failed. But like, for example, right? So this book right here, I'd say this is the size of a board. So you're basically trying to kick exactly right here. If you kick anywhere else, like where my fingers are, up here, you're gonna like break something, right?
Like in your body?
Yeah, because that amount of force because you generate a lot of force, with a spinning back, and you turn, you use your whole body's momentum, yeah. You slide your body to like go through this thing. But the slightest miss, right? Imagine all that force hitting a part of the plastic that plastic's not going to break. Yeah. So that's the most hard part about it, is the accuracy coming to the kick itself. And I think with more practice, I could have broke it. And I know I had the strength to break it, like the power and momentum to break it. But it all comes down to an accuracy thing. And I think that's a big part of Taekwondo, is the pinpoint accuracy and how to break a brick or a board or something like that.
I mean, you mentioned that if you miss it, you're definitely going to break something. So like, even in practice, like, what does that look like to do? Is like, how do you practice then, considering you're probably going to miss at least in practice?
Oh, yeah. I mean, in practice, you don't practice with real wood.
Okay. So what do you practice with?
You practice with like a big punching bag or a Taekwondo target. Okay. Or we also have these foam boards you practice with. But yeah, in practice, we never practice with a real thing.
Never? Not even like leading up to the competition day?
Yeah, not really. Oh. Because first of all, we don't have the plastic, for example, we have board holders. So if you accidentally kick their hand, it won't hurt as much than kicking just straight up hard plastic. And when you have a board holder, you can move it around to a good board holder will move it around so it adjusts to where you're kicking and you're going to break it. But also, no holder's going to hold 7 thick boards by themselves because they don't have enough strength to
Wait, so you're doing all 7 at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it was probably
I thought you meant like they bring one up. They bring one up. How many you can get in the time frame?
No, that was the spinning hook kick.
Oh, okay. I mixed them up in my head.
But like power breaking, yeah, it's how many boards you want to break out once.
Whoa.
And then the person who breaks the most amount of board obviously wins. You can't practice that in practice. I mean, I'm sure you could, but like we did it. So, yeah.
Wow, that's insane, dude. So I'm curious what practice for that looks like. So I'm sure you're practicing for multiple kinds of competitions. So you're probably basically just like spamming a lot of reps. What I'm assuming. So what does practice look like when you're preparing for some kind of competition like this?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's the regular practices where you just come and go, and then there's the competition-based practices. So I think ours were on every Sunday. There was a 3-hour time period where we solely focus on the events we're competing in. And yeah, like you said, a lot of it comes down to repetition. One of the like quotes I like to go by, like any martial artist knows this, but it was Bruce Lee who said, like, I fear a man who practices one technique 1,000 times rather than 1,000 techniques one time. So my master, he always said that quote. He really tried to dial in on repetition and repetition. That's something I lacked in the back kick event. But yeah, it's just a lot of, first of all, it's a lot of training cardio, like just running around. It's also a good amount of meditation.
Yeah, how much, we'll get to that point as well. How much cardio is involved in?
I'd say in sparring, it's very involved,
yeah.
Right? But like I said, we didn't do sparring, so I would say my cardio wasn't the best when coming into these events. But like, actually not cardio, I would say strength training, like a lot of push-ups, a lot of sit-ups, a lot of leg raises, a lot of fast sprints. He was just trying to build that like power in your body, and I think that's what he focused on, other than just the repetition and technique side of things.
How does power training in the specifics differ from typical bodybuilding, strength building? Like, how do you build power? Is it? I remember our old gym, like we would have, like my high school gym, they would have like these iPads that connect to the bar and you can measure your power output. And we did like resistance band stuff, like shoot ups with constant tension. So what does it look like for you?
Yeah. So first of all, I just want to get things clear. I'm sure you know this too. Strength and power are two different things,
yes.
Right? I probably can't bench as much as, Colton, obviously. But I do believe that with power comes accuracy, especially in Taekwondo. Like, I'll give you an example. For our 3rd degree black belt test, we had to break just a block of like cement, like a brick, like a cement brick, right? And wow. I feel like I'm not a super strong guy. I don't bench I don't bench 2 plates. But when you know where to hit and the speed to it and how to hit, like the form that comes down with it, that's how you generate power, and that's how you break a brick. Even in mixed martial arts, there's a difference between power and strength, right? You see all these little lightweights knocking people out cold. That's because they know where to hit, how fast to hit, the accuracy that comes to it, and then that's what knocks people out. It's not your raw strength. It's so many things other than that, like the speed and the accuracy.
Yeah, and timing it too.
And timing. Oh yeah, timing is a huge thing when it comes to like sparring and honestly any martial arts.
Yeah, especially with strikes. I mean, you really have to get that perfectly on the dot. So,
dude, yeah.
It's power. So power, we can think about it as kind of taking a lot of force and like kind of dialing it in so their output is like all at once. So it's like even a small guy can navigate that much force into perfect timing, perfect accuracy, right at the spot to make it feel like he just got like whipped by someone who's like 315 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. Like, I mean, I don't know if you like saw the viral Bradley Martin clip going around. He's like, "Oh, I'm 260 pounds. I can beat up any like mixed martial artist, right?" And like he was chirping at this guy Devin Haney, who's a world champion boxer, lightweight, and he was like, "In a street fight, I mess you up." And yeah, Bradley Martin.
Who said that?
Bradley Martin.
Okay, he's a heavier guy?
Yeah, he's just a bodybuilder.
Okay.
And then the Devin Haney, the world champion boxer, he's like, "No, you could. I'd mess you up in a fight." And I agree with him, even though he's like half the weight, right?
Did they fight?
No, unfortunately not. I wish they did, bro. Yeah. That would have been really fun. But like Bradley Martin and Logan Paul fought. Oh. I'm pretty sure Logan Paul won. It wasn't publicized at all.
Isn't Jake Paul supposed to fight Mike Tyson soon? Is that happening?
Yeah, next Friday, bro.
Next Friday?
I'm so excited. It's gonna be
Holy
on Netflix. Yeah, I mean, it's a huge
live watch party.
promotion thing, right? But huge marketing thing for Netflix. But
definitely.
I
Is
think
it only for Netflix, people who have Netflix, or like Netflix is streaming it but for free?
I think it's for people who have Netflix.
Okay.
I don't know how it works. Like, I'm excited to watch it though. I know it's streamed through Netflix though.
Yeah.
So.
That's really cool because this is the first time Netflix is doing something like that, no?
They had a couple live events, but I think this is the first time they're doing something relating combat sports.
Yes.
So I think they're trying to transition more into like the live streaming sector, right? You see places like Hulu or whatever, they live stream sports, right? They're partnered with ESPN Plus. I think Netflix is trying to have their own thing now with stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really cool, dude. Yeah, I mean, Mike Tyson, what is he, like 60 now?
Yeah, bro, he's getting old. Honestly, I have Jake Paul. Win, dude. I have Jake Paul winning this. Yeah. Unfortunately, like I like the guy actually, Jake Paul. I think people give him so much.
He's a good fighter. You can't deny that.
He really is. Like people discredit him so much. Right? He's actually a great boxer.
I mean, I get it. You don't hate the YouTuber.
I mean, whether he wins or loses, if he loses, people are just gonna clown him, right? If he wins, they're gonna say, "Oh, you beat up a 60-year-old."
Exactly. Grandpa. He has no way of winning.
So I mean, they're getting like hella money. I guarantee you, bro. Jake Paul's making like $50 million from this, like from this event solely. Mike Tyson's probably making the same, if not more, right? So
this
like
crazy.
At the end of the day, all these boxing things, like it really comes down to marketing and promotion and just like the money involved. It's crazy. So
yeah, it's crazy, dude. I mean, yeah, Mike Tyson was such a great fighter in his prime, though.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
I think the thing with martial arts is that you really have to be in your prime. Like whoever's hot is gonna stay hot, and building that momentum is like a big thing in these kind of fights.
It's about the crave.
Yeah,
like people, like good fighters. Like the people who win are because people have heart. Mm-hmm. Because when you get to that 5th round in MMA or that 12th round in boxing,
12 rounds is crazy.
Yeah, it's not going to be the person who has more power, more skill. At that point, both guys are out because their cardio is like gassed. It's the person who wants it more, and that ultimately shows in the later rounds. I'm sure it's the same with wrestling, same with like Taekwondo sparring, any martial art. I would say heart is the most important thing you can have, right?
I mean, with your training, do you think that it's obviously possible to build power or strength, but like, do you think heart is something you just kind of need to have, or is it, can you develop heart?
I think that's kind of hard. So personally, I don't think I've had the biggest heart. Like I've had motivation and drive and somewhat discipline, but I think heart really shows when you're competing in those combats one-on-one events. That's something I'm not too skilled in because I don't have a background in sparring. I definitely think you can develop heart though. Like for example, let's say you're a fighter, you're the underdog, everyone thinks you're gonna lose. You're gonna be more motivated than ever. It's scary to fight someone who has nothing to lose, and they just want to win. When the A side has everything to lose, and you see this in any martial arts fights, boxing, MMA. I think heart comes at right moments, but I don't think it's something you can really train for, if that makes sense. I mean, agree to disagree, but yeah.
Because I guess when you're in the heat of the moment, like it's so unexpected what it's actually going to be like.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, like when people see red, you know, and like they say, "Oh, I see red. I don't know, like beat the crap out of you." I think that's just like an ego thing. Mm-hmm. Also, with heart, you need somewhat of an ego. It's the self-belief that you will win and that you're gonna achieve and you're gonna knock the other person out. And that's what makes fighting so exciting because you can clearly see who wants it more in some fights. And when they both want it, like when they both have the same amount of heart, that's when it gets super exciting. That's when like it is the heat of the moment and you don't know who's gonna win. So yeah.
And you do definitely need ego, and I don't think that's a bad thing. You know?
No, not at all. I think like you really need ego and confidence to succeed in the real world. Because like I mean, for example, like I'm in Ross here, right? And like there's a stereotype, right? Like the Ross holes. I'm sure you've heard it. Like everyone has a big ego. What I've noticed from it is like there's a reason these people have egos, And the people with egos, not in an annoying way, but in a self-confident way, they're going to be the ones to succeed in the world.
Exactly.
Who's going to believe in you? No one but yourself at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think there's a way to do it where like you believe in yourself so much, you love yourself so much, like you have the belief that I deserve more than the world, but at the same time, like you're not shoving that in people's face. Like I think it's possible to have both. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There are like, for example, like kids in my high school, right? They're just so annoying because like they just like think they're the shit at everything, and they have like nothing to back it up. Even in Ross, like there are some people like that. But yeah, ultimately, like just don't make it in a way that is annoying. Kind of keep it more to yourself, I would say, but also like don't not have an ego, or people with an ego can just like push you over, right? That balance is definitely needed in the professional world, and I'm still learning. I'm only a freshman, so
Yeah, we both are.
yeah.
Yeah, amazing, dude. Can you think back to any of your matches, whether sparring, not sparring, and can you describe like the mental state going into it? What is it like?
Yeah, I think so. Like for example, I remember like Muay Thai this summer, going into sparring sessions, round after round. The coach just kept making you going, and I think I did like 6 rounds. I was so gassed. I think in sparring, like practicing, the mental state to it is I want to showcase all my skills and I want to learn from it, right? I think in actual competition, the mental state to it comes with I want to win, and I'm not fighting for second place. I'm only going to be satisfied if I actually get gold. And I think right before a fight, you need that crazy amount of ego that you're better than everyone else, and that you're especially better than your opponent in every way possible, so that you do have the heart. Like going back to the heart, that is what builds your heart right before going into it, knowing that you're better than the other person, even though on paper you might not be.
So do you find it easy to activate that in you?
I think the moment comes to, like, when you're in the moment, it comes, right? Like, I don't know, when you're in the heat of the moment, all the nerves, all the adrenaline, that's what causes you to like build that ego. I mean, like people who have that kind of ego, just like in their everyday lives, tend to be annoying, right? Mm-hmm. But that you need that type of ego right before going into a fight in order to succeed, in my opinion.
I feel like there are definitely a lot of adrenaline emotions going through your system, but I think people respond to it differently. Like some people, as soon as they get that, they're immediately like, I'm better than this guy, ego. Like it's your brain's like neurological system of actually helping you to survive in a way.
Right.
But some people respond to that in a negative way. Like they'll feel those emotions and then they'll start doubting themselves severely. So has that ever happened to you or no? For you, it's almost like events coming, ego, boom. I
mean, yeah, like for example, when you're fighting someone, you don't want too big of an ego where you, like, yeah, I said you want to think you're better than them, but you also want to recognize their skills. I think you don't doubt your skills, but you're more aware of their skills. Like you're fighting someone who's faster than you or stronger than you. You gotta be more aware on your distance management. You don't want to get hit if they're faster than you. You want to really utilize on the timing so that they don't let their kicks or their punches really get to you, right? So I think right before a fight, and I don't have a lot of experiences either, there's just so many mental things that come with it. You want a big ego. You want to think you're better than them, but you also have to recognize your weaknesses and their strengths and how to utilize your strengths to beat their strengths. So many different things that come to it. For me, I would say, I just try to perform my best. I try to like not let people down, I think is my biggest thing. And like most athletes, I try to prove to myself that I can actually do this. So
that's really cool, dude. We were talking earlier about training, and we started going deep into the power side of it. I cut you off when you mentioned meditation. So how does that incorporate into the whole?
So I think with meditation, like I said, martial arts is such a big mental thing, and if you don't have your mind straight, you're not going to succeed. Especially because it's such a discipline thing too, right? Meditation is a skill that I'm still learning, but for example, like my black belt 3rd degree test, we had to meditate for like an hour and a half straight.
Whoa. So how does this test work?
Yeah, so you go into it, right? It was
And who's like administering this test?
So it was my master.
Okay.
It was when I went into it was me, my brother, and the master's son. And then we all had to meditate for an hour and a half.
Wow.
After that, we had to perform all the things we learned from a white belt to a black belt. Like every single skill we learned. So this test probably took like 4 to 5 hours. And then
That's intense.
Yeah, and then you had to showcase every kick, and then you had to create your own breaking board movement, and then at the end you break a brick. And if you do all those things, then you get your 3rd degree black belt, and then you can finally call yourself a 3rd degree, I guess.
So there's just like trust that you are meditating the whole time, like, or
What was that?
they can't really measure whether you're meditating or not, right? But I guess there's like a test, like just like the ability to just sit there,
Yeah.
present. Okay.
So pretty much is you're in a crisscross position, your back is straight, you're just closing your eyes, fist on your lap, and you're basically sitting there for an hour and a half. And to some people, like, they say, oh, you can just fall asleep, like take a little nap. You can't do that because your mind is constantly thinking. And what the master wants you to do is he wants you to visualize yourself doing the test. So pretty much you already did the test in your head before you actually go into the test. And I think that gives you like expectations to meet. And I think that just sets your mind so right because it really locks you in, really dials you in.
Can you describe it again? So you're sitting there and in your mind you're visualizing how yourself looks, or you're visualizing yourself take the test?
Exactly. You're visualizing yourself go through each step of the test
one
by one.
I see.
And then you're trying to like remember the different forms, like because there's so many movements to it that you're not gonna like when you're in the moment it's easy to forget. So I think the meditation aspect kind of calms you down. So I would say it is a test, but it's more for you. And it's more for you so that you can actually succeed and not give up or fail.
Wow, that's really incredible, man.
Yeah.
So could you describe what the experience is like going through that?
Yeah. So like meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you need practice if you want to meditate for such a long period of time.
All right.
I think for me going into that, I knew it was gonna be such a big struggle for me because I'm not used to just like sitting down in the same spot for hours. So you need to start like a couple months before. Every day, I just sat down on my living room floor, search up meditation music on YouTube, and then just listen to that. And then it started with 10 minutes, 15, 20, building up to 30, right? And you just constantly do that every day, and you get used to the silence. You get used to just being in your own head. And
without thinking though.
Right. And
That's
literally
skill,
blocking out all the conflicts in life. So also, I'm really sorry, but I do need to use the bathroom.
No worries. Let's go use the bathroom. There's one right over here, and we'll get rolling right after that.
Appreciate it. All right,
We're back. So do you think now that you developed this skill, if you wanted to, you could just sit here for like 30 minutes and like not think about anything?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I will say, because I know what it takes mentally, I can get through it. But would I be comfortable doing it? No, because I haven't practiced it a lot. Kind of like speaking more on meditation, I think it's a skill I want to continue to learn and develop. I mean, in college it's hard, right? You don't have a lot of time, so many things going on. But I really need to like push myself to find these moments where I can literally just sit still and just kind of be in my own head and not really think about anything. Like, for example, I think I put this in my sheet, but I have this thing called Panda's disease, and that's kind of like Tourette syndrome, and it kind of makes me like twitch a little, like probably saw it here and there in the videos. I don't really care, but I think that's been such a struggle in college and growing up.
Is that also where the sound comes from?
Yeah,
Okay.
like the vocal tics and all that.
Yeah.
That's where all that stuff comes, and I try to like suppress it as much as I can when I'm in settings with friends or whatever. But I think the tics were at its best when I did meditate, and
So they were the lowest, like the least frequent.
Yeah, I would agree, because then you're just kind of blocking that out and you're not really thinking about it.
That's
if that
real
makes
cool.
sense.
Wow.
It's kind of a hard concept to explain with with ticks and all that, with Panda's disease. But yeah, I do really need to start meditating again to help my symptoms.
Wow. Yeah, I'd love to go deep into that.
Sure.
Just sticking on the topic of meditation. So when you're just sitting, inevitably thoughts probably come, right? Uncontrollably. Like you're trying to focus on maybe the sound or the silence, or in the case of the test, like what movements you're about to do. So you're trying to focus on some central thing, or just focus on the nothingness of nothing. Are you, let's say a thought comes in, like how do you respond to that?
Like when you're meditating?
Yeah. Like let's say you're just meditating 10 minutes straight, a thought comes, like what do you do?
I mean, it's hard because I feel like it's something you can't control.
Yeah.
That is such a hard question to answer. But for what I do is I just imagine a dot in the middle of like right here, right? And I just focus on that single dot. And you have to focus on your breathing, like breathing in and like breathing out, right? If you focus on your breathing and focus on that like center in your eyes, you're not really going to like think about all the crazy things. I mean, if you do, like just deal with it, right? But
what do you mean by deal with it? Like you're just like, oh, it's there, like go run away from it, like it's gone.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's a hard thing to explain. I feel like it differs person by person.
Right.
But when you're only focusing on your breathing and you're visualizing yourself succeed, for example, I think that kind of distracts you from all the other things. So it just takes repetition and practice.
Yeah, I think focusing on the third eye is like big in Hindu culture as well. I don't know if you read about that, but I think meditation is a big part of Hinduism as well.
Okay.
And even when my mom or my grandfather meditate, it's all like focusing on the third eye, like up here.
Right.
So that's really cool. Is that like, where did you learn about that from? Was that also in part of like the Taekwondo culture, or from where?
Yeah, I would say like the third eye thing is more of like something like, I mean, I don't physically like believe in a third eye, I guess.
Right.
Like, I mean, yeah, there's
but it's
like
useful to focus.
Right.
Yeah.
It like, I think it metaphorically represents a focus and a center in life.
Right.
It's like my background, like, is I'm religious and like I'm Christian. So that's a big part of who I am. And I think meditation is kind of, sometimes it could be looked negatively in Christianity just because like it's so, big in other religions like Hinduism or whatnot. But I think that with meditation, from a Christian perspective, you could also like take it like you're praying to God, and you're kind of taking that time to meditate, to talk to Him. And I think that is also what really helps you develop a relationship with God and something spiritual out there, if someone does believe in that. So.
Wow. Would you say you've noticed a difference in your mental state during periods of time where you're consistently doing this practice? Like, I'm assuming when you're preparing for that test, you were probably doing it consistently, building up 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes on your living room floor, versus now you're at college, you've been a little busy, you've not been doing it as frequently. Can you describe like a difference in your mental state during both of those eras?
Yeah, I would say that you're more relaxed, but in a good way. Like, you're not relaxed in a way where you feel lazy and tired. You're relaxed in a way where you feel like you could totally, take control of your body. Like, back to my tics, it's the best ever when I consistently meditate because I feel full control in my body. So, I mean, yeah, there's a huge difference when you're being consistent with it and not.
So the benefits you describe is mainly like, first of all, the tics, which is huge, definitely more control of your body, but I don't know, do you describe like there's a sense of calmness, I guess, like your thoughts are not constantly nagging at you, you're not like clouding your mind, you can kind of focus better, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and someone who doesn't meditate really wouldn't understand the feeling. Like, I feel like I'm explaining like a drug. Like, I don't do drugs, by the way, I don't smoke or anything like that. But like, you feel this sort of way that like you can't really experience if you don't meditate. Because the human mind, we're always constantly thinking about something. We're never not thinking about anything, right? But when you meditate, that like emptiness is so peaceful because you just kind of remove everything from your life. You only focus on your breathing and you only focus on what you want to succeed. And if you can reach that level of like focus and mastery in this skill of meditation, I think it's going to help you tremendously in life and achieve the things you want.
Yeah. I mean, similar to you, like I've used to meditate. Nothing as intensive. You've done an hour and a half straight, 30 minutes.
Right.
I think one time I've done it for like 30 minutes or so or longer. But it was something I started doing a lot my junior year for similar reasons of just like presence and calming down the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it throughout junior year, did it throughout senior year, and this school year it's kind of stopped. I think I've noticed a pattern that when it's in a very specific part of my routine, it's easy for me to just do it every day, like months straight. But I think ever since I came here, I haven't been able to successfully fit it in somewhere in the routine. And maybe you struggle with that as well.
Yeah, like I need to like literally put 20 minutes in my Google Calendar every day just to like have a time for meditation, because like there's so many distractions in college. I'm sure you've noticed it. We tend to forget the things we used to love back in high school or middle school or stuff like that.
Yeah, that's interesting because I feel like there's a lot of things I dropped kind of coming here.
Oh
I
yeah, I would agree.
It's like the slow process of like the last 2-3 months trying to put it back in.
Right.
Like first month I was here, like I stopped getting up early. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things I started doing like a month ago. Nothing crazy. I mean, just a normal time, like 7 or whatever. But I don't know. I'm trying to figure out like when's the best time to kind of incorporate this in my routine.
Yeah, I mean, like even my roommate, like he is so used to like waking up at like, he's a kid who was known as like waking up at 5 a.m. back at home, he said.
Wow.
But now he feels like, he says he felt like he lost his identity because he doesn't wake up so early. And I think for me, it's kind of same because I'm not like consistently practicing Taekwondo or meditating. But like going back to like when the best time would be, I don't know, maybe for me, I always say before I went to bed, but now like it's kind of hard since you have so much homework to do. But we have to realize that 10 minutes of your day isn't really a long time.
Yeah, it's bigger in your mind.
Yeah, exactly. Because you think like, oh, this 10 minutes I could spend finishing up this assignment, but I'd rather finish up this assignment, go to bed a little later, and then just fit that 10 minutes in between.
The effects are there. I mean, it's beneficial.
Right, for sure.
Yeah. I'm curious about the identity thing you mentioned, about how when you start to lose some of the things you used to do, like you lose that kind of identity. Because I feel like I had a similar realization to that a month ago where I noticed like a shift in the way I talk to people, because I used to say I'm a wrestler and now I say I was a wrestler. You know? I used to say I get up super early at 5:30 in the morning. Now I say I used to get up 5:30 in the morning. Like I used to be able to say that, oh, I don't listen to music, and now I say that, oh yeah, there was once a time in my life when I went 3 months without listening to music.
Right.
So I felt like there's this moment in October where it kind of hit me that I'm only talking in past tense. Like I'm not talking current. Like I'm not doing anything with my life.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of led me to like a shift, at least in this last month.
Right.
Into like trying to figure out like what is it that I actually want to do.
Right.
But I don't know. Do you have something similar kind of?
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned that. I think literally every college freshman recognizes this. You're not gonna have the same routine you had in high school. Like for me, like in high school, I also swam. Now I say I was a swimmer. Even in Taekwondo, like I used to compete in Taekwondo. Even though I'm on the club team now, I don't really compete in it yet. So you definitely lose so many parts of who you think you are. But I think that's in college, the gift of living by yourself, not under your parents' roof, is truly realizing what you want to do. And I think that's scary, right? Because, we're still like kids at the end of the day, I feel like. We're still 18 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you're 18 or 19. 18, yeah. But we're technically adults now. And that like shift in life is scary, but it's also a gift. Because like realistically, do you want to be your high school self forever? No, right? You're going to want to find what you want to do professionally in your career. You're going to want to find the people in life, like your boys that you really love and that you want to see a future with, right? All your friends. And yeah, there's high school friends too, but people say college is where you make the best of friends or whatever. And like, I don't know, like if you have a girlfriend or whatever, but like people, they say in college, like you look for like the people like you can see yourself spending the rest of your life with too. And I know that's like such a huge stretch, but like,
It's true though.
It's true for most people. So
Yeah.
It's probably true for us, maybe. But yeah, I think that identity is because like we're so used to it that we're not used to not having that routine or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely struggle with it too. So
So when you had this realization, like, how did you respond to it? Like, are you still in the process of like excited for what life could be, or did you start to have moments of clarity where, yeah, this kind of sounds nice, let me lean into that? Or
Right. I think for me, what's helping me get through it is like being involved in campus. Like, I'm in a business frat here. I'm in this venture capital club, Taekwondo club, obviously, and being a part of these communities and seeing like mentors, what you could be professionally and socially, like, I think that gives me hope. Like, wow, I don't want to just be my high school self anymore. I want to be where they're at. I want to grow to where they're at, right? Like, in my business frat, these kids are 1, 2, 3 years older than me, but they're so much further in life than I am. And I think that, one, yeah, you can get a little imposter syndrome from it. But two, it just shows that there's so much to grow in college. And that really excites me because we think we're mature. You're a high school senior, right? Driving your car around, you're seeing all these little freshmen. Oh yeah, bro, I think I'm the shit, like, I'm 18, I'm an adult. You come to college, you're still a little kid. There's just so much room for growth in life. And I think that is what really excites me about freshman year especially.
yeah, exciting is the right word to put it, dude. Like, we don't know what's coming. So much change is about to come.
Dude, exactly. Yeah. Like, anything could, like, I've never experienced a college party till now. Like, it's crazy, right? Like, even little things like that.
Yeah. So amazing, bro. There is something special about being around older people. Like, it's a different feeling you get.
For sure.
And imposter syndrome does come when you're like hanging out with them or like a group of older guys, right. But after a while, like, you start to see yourself change so much just being around them, just because the way they talk is kind of entering your brain. It's becoming the way you talk, and the way they think is becoming the way you think. And after you change the way you think, like, you're seeing like yourself kind of develop into these people, and it's like one of the most like satisfying and like cool feelings.
Yeah, like you just get so mature. Like, think of your freshman in high school self versus your senior in high school self. You've grown so much there, right? So much, dude. Now think of your freshman in college self versus your future senior self.
Who knows?
You don't know how much you're gonna grow, and that, like, unknown is scary, but it's also exciting.
Yeah,
like, we're gonna be like adults soon. Like, I tell my friends, 10 years from now, we're gonna be at each other's weddings, or
that's crazy.
I might be an uncle. Like, if my brother like gets a kid. Like, it's just so weird to think about how fast life is moving, and it's definitely scary, but like, ultimately it excites me.
Very much so. Hojun, it's 12:30. I know you gotta be somewhere at 1, so yeah. I'd be happy to talk more like about pandas or even just like values and like future in life. But if you have to go, I understand that. So cool. I'd be happy to do this again. We can definitely talk. I feel like we talk for hours.
Dude, yeah, part 2, man. I feel like I could talk to you for like 2-3 more hours, like forever, bro.
Easily, bro. There's like 100 things we could talk about. So dude, pleasure doing this with you. I had a lot of fun today. And definitely sometime 2025, part 2.
For sure. Keep going with this whole podcasting, man. You're very good at it, talented. So keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to my episode. If you enjoyed that episode, I guarantee that you'll love this episode right here. The best way to support the channel is by hitting the subscribe button. It'll help me to upgrade the channel, get better guests, better production, and overall more episodes for you. And by hitting the subscribe button, it'll ensure that you'll never miss a new release. While you're at it, hit the like button, leave a comment, and share the link with your best friend. Thank you once again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.